Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope you are all well. I hope that by the time that you're listening to this, that you're looking forward to the end of 2021. You're reflecting on a year of small improvements over the year, and where you've made a big impact on your life. If it's not been the year for you, that's okay as well. I think it's important to recognise that sometimes we need to take a step back. Things are maybe a bit harder, and then they get better. At the time of speaking, I would like to thank you if you've been reaching out with your messages, your thoughts and feedback around episodes. By this time as well, the Patreon will have been launched, so if you are thoroughly enjoying the Self-Improvement Project and all you want is more content that is maybe more personalised and interactive for you, then you can become a legend and come and join me on Patreon. I'm also at the stage of launching my coaching, my spiritual life coaching, which will be starting in January 2022. And here there's two formats of coaching: one-to-one coaching and group coaching. In the show notes below, I'm going to post more information about it, but if you want to know more, you can always email me and ask me about it, or you can fill in an application form, which will be in the link below as well. So, this week's episode is called Knowing When to Give In, and is all around intensity and momentum. Giving in to these concepts to get the most out of them. Now, this is an interesting point because a lot of the content that I create and have created in the past has always been on the side of consistency and patience. And this is quite contrasting to that. Consistency and patience is a long-term viewpoint, and intensity and momentum is more of a short-term viewpoint. But knowing when to give in to that momentum, into that intensity, shouldn't really be something that we need to consider or consciously think about. I like to think that short bursts of intensity can almost add a bit of spice to our life. The long-term consistency, being patient, yes, is unremarkable, but leads to remarkable things, but can get a bit monotonous and boring, to put it plainly. So this adding of spice when it's there, it's available to you, and it feels natural, is only a good thing. Momentum should come naturally to you. I like to sometimes think it is as a result of consistency, consistent action that you have been taking. You don't realise that momentum is a thing until you step back and think about it. Momentum comes naturally when something isn't overwhelming. When I started the Self-Improvement Project, I just did the podcast once a week. But now I have the podcast, the email, the Patreon, YouTube, the coaching, and I don't feel overwhelmed by it because I've leaned into momentum as it's grown, as it's built, but the consistency over time has led to that. The consistency with the podcast once a week. So, relate it to stacking. Stacking your things that you want to get better at. Momentum and intensity is something that you give into when it feels right. When everything that you've been doing, you feel like you can do with your eyes closed, so you can naturally take on more. And I guess a nice way to put it is it snowballs. However, sometimes we have mental blocks, mental barriers, that lack of self-belief that is telling us that we're not good enough. That instant dismissal. I've never done this before, so I can't possibly do it. I'm not qualified enough to do this, so I couldn't possibly do that and be credible. But your consistency gives you that credibility. That momentum and intensity displays passion. It displays genuine passion behind what you're doing. Beauty, quality, and confidence all follow this magical element of momentum, this magical concept as it snowballs. So, when do we know when to give in to this? As I mentioned before, it does come naturally. It feels like that natural next step. Sometimes, when you're in your career or a job, you can do everything and you need that next challenge. And why should this not apply to other areas of your life as well? Another example to use might be reading a book. Sometimes you can read a book in one sitting because you're so engrossed by it. You are completely and utterly inundated with how great it is. And that one sitting is an example of that momentum and intensity, that giving in. And sometimes you will take the time to read a book. You'll read it over a few weeks, a few months. And this is an element of that consistency, where you're turning up regularly without thinking about whether you want to do it or not. Again, which is also fine. But it's a nice analogy of neither one is right nor wrong. But giving in is something that you shouldn't have to think about. Intensity and momentum and giving in can, as I mentioned, be equated to being engrossed by something, completely fascinated by it. So when was the last time that you were completely fascinated by something? On top of this, giving in to this feeling can feel good. It can also pass you by if you don't act upon it. A wee bit like motivation. When you act upon motivation or this giving in to momentum, you never give yourself credit. You just think, oh, that's what I should have done. But it's a bit of a skill being able to recognise it without totally thinking about it, and then giving in fully to it. You are only rewarded for it, but only you know, because you're the only person that's gone through it. If you're truly enjoying something intrinsically and within, nobody can tell you that you're wrong. That you're wrong for fully going for it, for going in with 2 feet. Bathe in that feeling. Bathe in that enjoyment and gratification that you feel when your senses are almost on fire, ignited by whatever it is that you're working on. The glow that is created within you by this rubs off in everything that you do. That beauty, that quality, and that confidence. You, when you feel like this, are completely entitled to go all in. Similarly, you can't force it. You can't force this intensity and momentum. If you do, you become frustrated, you become cynical, and you burn out. And that has an impact on your consistency. And it's a vicious cycle that you can never get out of, nor ever feel like you're getting the results that you are striving for. It's about being able to use them in tandem with each other. That beautiful sweet spot of working hard, enjoying it, and doing it long term is something that many people strive for in this world. Not previously, not in the future, but all-encompassing in this day and age. So next time that you feel it, hold on to it, grasp it, enjoy it, lavish in it, and completely give in. And that's us. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed that. And let me know what you think. I'll see you all next time. See you later.